now because
I'd like to get it out of the way, let everybody know early.
that's real important. Okay, I move for passage of ordinance, or resolution 2018-2.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have one question, is Halloween, October 31st, is that?
It's Wednesday.
Okay.
It shouldn't say in your memorandum. It is Wednesday, October 31st.
So this will come up every year.
Yeah, I believe it has in the past.
But the actual Halloween date is October 31st. I know what it says here, but as far as the the resolution, but the actual date of Halloween is October 31st this coming year.
I believe it is every year, isn't it?
It's on the 31st every year?
Sure is.
Ever since I was
Last day
born.
of October.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Call the question as to passage of proposed resolution 2018-2. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Move next, proposed resolution 2018-3, read by title alone, a resolution waiving garage sale permit fees during Old Settlers. Is there any further discussion on this, or is there a motion to pass proposed resolution 2018-3?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Call the question as to passage of proposed resolution 2018-3. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Go ahead and skip 2018-7 since ordinance 2018-2 failed to pass. Skip 2018-8, 2018-9, 2018-10, 12. All right. We'll move next to an update on the council's progress on assigning ratings to sidewalks within their districts. I received Councilman Traeger's assessment, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then we have a color-coded map. I'd like to ask the council how they're doing on their assessments. President Pro Tem Pearson, do you have an update?
I have all of the sidewalks identified with where there is sidewalks, where there is no sidewalk or curb, but in that I thought Aaron was involved in this, and when he told me he was not, I didn't feel like I got an adequate answer for if a sidewalk is half good and half bad.
I think you could make a note on the sheet that says, the west side or the west half of the street is a 2, the east side is a 7. That'd be good. That's what Councilman did, and when I put it on the map, I just color coded it different for each half block.
I don't have my conditions all done. And then, of course, they're all snow covered now, so it's going to take a little bit to get back to.
Thank you. Councilman Stewart?
I've got Riley Road and Riley Meadows Drive done, but I don't have the rest of them done.
Councilman Garrison?
I'm close, but I got overtaken by snow the other day. I was out.
Thank you. And then next item, I just wanted to see if there's any other discussion regarding areas within the city of Delphi that could be cleaned up. Last month we identified the planter beds. I got that letter out today. Downtown business and property owners. Are there any other locations within the city of Delphi that we wanted to look at trying to clean up? What's that?
There's something I seen, I'm trying to remember. It'll come to me.
Any other counselor? Yes, sir.
Mayor, did you send a letter to Mr. Meredith Burge
I've not yet.
about the garage up there on Summit Street?
I will do that tomorrow, sir.
I have not got the chance to talk to both of his sons. I know Meredith's not able to do it, but his sons are able, and I have not had a chance to talk to them. They only live like 2 blocks from me, so I will stop by there and when I can catch Mike or Rick at home and find out what we can have done about it.
Thank you. I'll get that drafted and sent out
If
tomorrow.
you get a letter out to him, I will stop and talk to him.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other counselors?
I just, in Board of Works, or in something that I read, was regarding the Tally Ho property up there that was sold at sheriff's sale. The person who bought it, are they intending to tear it down?
I need to talk to him. I'm not sure legally, since he bought it at tax sale and what
I
the
think there's still, I think
previous
there's
owner
still
has a
time on
year
that.
to pay the back taxes, whether or not he'd even be allowed to tear it down, and whether our order still stands. It's already a difficult subject, but then when you get the tax sale involved with it as well, it's even more convoluted. I don't know if, Abby, if you have anything.
Yeah, they
to
have
add.
a year to redeem it, so
They-
you really can't.
It's my understanding they have a certain length of time to, for whatever reason, to take the house back and pay a penalty. Pay the person that paid the taxes or bought the tax sale at a certain percentage rate, back on the money that they have invested.
Kind of, yes,
Okay.
they have a year to redeem the property.
Yeah.
It goes through a program for the auditor's office,
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't think they can be asked to take down the improvement before that time. They don't have the deed yet.
Unless we sent our order prior to, which we did, and we did all legal publishing that we needed to. It's something we can talk about, or
Okay,
Mackenzie and I can talk about.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, have you heard anything from the other two houses that are abandoned on, up in that area?
I have not.
One on Terrace Lane and the other one at the other end of Tally Ho Drive, next to Mr. Van Sickles.
Yeah, just south of the Prices there on Dayton Road.
Yes, yes.
I have not, I've got the list of all the properties that have water shut off. I started going through them, so I anticipate getting letters out to them in January. But I think there was like 97 on that list, so it's gonna take a little bit of time, but.
I think the one across from the Catholic cemetery was sold last week, so they don't have new owners, probably cleaned out. I'm certain it was sold, if not, we were gonna buy it, so we were too late.
Anything further from the council on this topic? All right, we'll move next to improvements that can be made in 2018. Last month we discussed getting packets to the council earlier than the Friday preceding the meeting date. Are there any other improvements the council would like to see in 2018?
I would like to see these 3 or 4 things continue to next month. I have some things that I neglected to bring, so I will get them to you. But if you put them on again, I guess we'll.
Anything further from the council on this topic?
Less paper.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Our clerk treasurer's website, more and more cities and towns are buying tablets for their council members. And everything is sent back and forth, and there aren't binders with papers in it.
So moved.
But you would not, I mean, and those tablets cost money, but in a year's time, we spend a lot of money and buy a lot of paper. But more and more cities and towns are moving over to this approach. I did not think it would be a popular thing, but I was surprised at the comments from the clerk treasurers that the towns that have already incorporated it. It's an easy feed mechanism, and it's right there. It's right there at your fingertips. So it's, you bring it to the council meetings, but you take it home.
Is that something the council would be interested in? I could email all the documents and you can pull them up on the
I would.
tablet.
I'd be interested in that.
Well, about 50–60% of this I didn't need.
Well, and the bulk of Title 3, 5, 7 is so that you can put it into your book when you update your code of ordinances. So, and that's the bulk of the paper that's in here, is just the update of those, of the City of Delphi code of ordinances. Is there any further discussion on tablets? Yay, nay?
it's worth looking into.
Maybe we can get some estimates and bring it back to the next council meeting.
I'll do that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
hopefully you would include the Board of Works.
Yes.
We can get some estimates. Any further discussion on improvements?
21st century.
All right, we'll move next to discussion of legislative goals for 2018. Councilman Traeger, you said you may have something prepared. Is that something you'd like to discuss again next month?
Yeah, I think all four of these.
Anything further from the council on legislative goals for 2018? All right. Last month, I provided a memorandum at the meeting regarding the public complaint I got about the last parking spot on West Main Street. So it'd be the one right in front of the Balloon Moose on the south side of the road. That semis couldn't turn. I didn't know if the council wanted to proceed with anything on that, or if we're gonna let it be as it is.
Do you have any information on accidents occurring because of that, or?
No, I could probably get the number of accidents at that intersection.
Sure.
And probably what they were caused by to an extent, but probably not that in-depth of an extent.
Considering how much we've lost over the last 3 or 4 years, I'm not in favor of losing one more. The left-hand turn lane on your eastbound Main Street is not used as much as a lot of the other lanes are. And semis can make that wide turn, I think, and be fine. I don't know of anything that would sway me otherwise. Unless you've got facts and figures to show that.
I'll have anecdotal evidence passed on from a member of the community. Any other counselor wish to proceed with anything on that?
I know that it is tough if people don't stop at the white line. You know, people tend to pull up too far there, and then for a semi that has thousands of bushels of grain in it, it's a little tough to, you can't back up, so, you know, what do? And somebody that's pulled up too far often can't back up because there's people behind them. So it can be an issue of people pulling up too far there. If everybody obeyed all the rules, then we wouldn't have the problems, but sometimes they think they're going to ease up, thinking the light will change or something, and then suddenly somebody needs to turn. So, you know, there are some problems with it, but maybe we need to just keep an eye on it.
Any other counselor wish to proceed on anything with that?
Steve, do your men enforce that disregarding of a stop sign when they pull up past that white line, or?
No, what we do is, if you disregarding a stop sign, be going through the sign when the light is red. So I'm not sure exactly how we would enforce someone just going through this and stopping there at the intersection. But I do see the problem there that you're talking about a lot, and it is something that needs to be done to address that issue. And I'm not sure exactly what, if they take a lane out or how you handle it.
Well, I believe it's a violation if you drive past that white line and stop. You have to stop behind that white line, don't you?
If you're proceeding through the intersection, I'm not sure we're gonna write somebody a ticket for stopping just beyond the line. You're talking about the walkway line, or what are you talking about?
Well, in the northbound lane, what I think Carolyn's, I guess I'm kind of speaking for you, but I think what I inferred from what Carolyn was saying was the left-hand turn lane as you are going north, so you can turn west on Main Street. When that's staggered back a car length behind what the straight lane is, the stop bar is. And when that is violated and that car is up parallel, or even with the car going straight, and the semi's wanting to swing out and turn, he can't do that normally unless that car backs up or slides out and goes around. That's what's causing a lot of that problem.
Yeah, so you want me to write a ticket to somebody who's beyond just that line there, with a left turn lane.
If it's a red light and they're disregarding a traffic control device, it's a green light, I don't know, but then you're not gonna run into traffic problems if you have a green light, generally.
I would think that would be part of it.
We have any further discussion regarding this topic?
Maybe it could be warnings to start with or something. I hate to give somebody a ticket, but for, maybe they just erroneously pulled too far ahead and then they got caught in the issue. But, I mean, I'm just thinking
Sure.
warnings could go a long ways perhaps.
Very well, we can address that issue easily.
Doing something would be a deterrent one way or the other.
But then you're gonna get into every other car pulls past that, you know.
Figure it
Maybe
out at
there's
one
something,
point.
you know, look at, there's something that could be on the street more so, I don't know, other than just the line, you know. I don't know. I know what you're talking about, and I agree with you, but you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They could sit there and they're gonna write a ticket for every other car in that lane, because they're gonna pull past that, you know?
True, they probably could.
Yeah.
But
It's
I see a
also a
lot of
state
people
highway, and
stop
there's probably
when
not a
there's
lot we can do to the markings on it, correct?
Those aren't our markings. I'm sure we could request, the deputy commissioner, or whatever he is, up in report. I sent him a letter about the no turn on red sign, because I think we had talked about it at a meeting, and I didn't hear back, so I'm guessing,
Which one, the one that's so small you can't see, or the one that's not there when you come south and turn east?
I think both of them.
Well, I say let's continue, continue to study it and see what we can do.
Any further discussion on this topic?
Yeah, I had one more. Aaron,
Yes.
and it's probably the wrong side of the road, didn't you say we lost a pole down there because, a light pole because of some truck turning? Was that-
Heading north, yeah, heading northbound, what I consider northbound on Washington, to the light. We had a semi-truck wanting to turn right onto Main Street heading out of town,
The other way,
and he
okay.
wiped it out. Now, the other one on the Blue Moose, we had one there in the plan set for Stellar, and I adamantly told them not to put it there. And so we actually lost a light pole in Stellar because they had it placed just way too close to that intersection, and we'd have lost that 6 times by now.
Any further discussion regarding this topic? Move to follow up from request from December meeting. I put this in a memorandum. You guys have any questions regarding about what we talked about? The request from the December meeting. We're gonna be working on the total asset management plan. Council liaisons, we passed the resolution. Alley, I got a hold of a member of the public about the alley. Sent the letters to businesses, and then the vacant and abandoned properties. I'll get letters sent out in January. Is there anything I missed from the December meeting?
Now, is that, on 5, the F5 there, does that include the letters you sent out for, potential building on properties too, or
No.
that's a different thing?
So I sent letters out to every lot that was wooded, vacant, meaning no structures, if there was agriculture on it. But I did not send any letters to parcels that had structures on them.
Oh, okay.
That's what I should be doing here in January.
So have you sent letters, you haven't sent letters to vacant and abandoned properties?
Correct. That have structures on them and no one living in them.
Oh, okay. Now, can we get copies of the letter you sent out for the property owners?
Yes, sir. Can I email that to you? Would you like a hard copy?
No, you can email it. I'll get it on my tablet. Thank you.
Anything further from the December meeting? All right, move next, 2017 legislative summary I typed up for you guys. It just highlights what ordinances were passed, what resolutions were passed, just so you have this in front of you. I think the bulk of the ordinances dealt with zoning and traffic. Resolutions were a mishmash of a couple different things. All of the ordinances that were passed in 2017 should be updated in your code of ordinances, which is the bulk of the documents in here. Are there any questions regarding the 2017 legislative summary? Next, put in here my executive goals for 2018. I don't know if there's any questions, comments, concerns, anything that the council would like to see added to the mayor's 2018 executive goals. Any comments? Not at this time. I've also got the mayor's 2018 legislative goals. Any questions, comments, concerns, things you'd like to add?
What are you trying, what's the goal for this?
For the legislative
And
goals,
what's the overall goal for the legislative goal?
to improve the city of Delphi, is the overall goal. But by putting it out there, it's for me to look back later in the year, and see whether we're making progress, in the areas that I identified. It's a good guidepost, to look back on and see how we're doing. And it's gonna be,
Are you requiring this of us?
no, I don't require anything. It is my opinion, and strictly that. Any other comments? All right. For the mayor's 2018 administrative goals, they're not as pretty, they're not as nice. I need to type them up and do a little better with this. A lot of this is Board of Public Works and Safety. We need to update our police department SOPs. I think it's been 3 or 4 years since we did that. We need to revisit the personnel policy. There's things that we need to be doing every few years. The pavement asset management plan is 2 years old. We have to get that approved and submit it to LTAP so we can get community crossings funds. Just a few things on here that I'd like to work on this year. This isn't an exhaustive list. There's a lot more things that'll come before the board this year. Any questions, comments, concerns about draft 2018 administrative goals? Then I've got a proposed legislative agenda, legislative schedule. Since proposed ordinance 2018-2 died today, it's going to be changed quite a bit. But I'd like to have a special presenter at each meeting. In February, it's going to be Airport Manager Jason Hart. In March, I've got the Greater Delphi Chamber of Commerce. April, Delphi Community School Corporation. Other government entities and nonprofit organizations from throughout the Delphi community. Just to give us a brief 10 to 15 minute update on what they're doing and what their plans are. I know we've had Senator Hirschman in the past every year, and I had him down scheduled for May, and he resigned, so Representative Leahy is planning on attending in May to give us an overview of the short session of the Indiana legislature. Is there anything that you don't see in the legislative proposal or agenda? This is, once again, just an idea. Is there anything you don't see that should be added, anything we should add that isn't included? Questions, comments, concerns?
You're far ahead of us.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
For Steve. Steve?
Yep.
How many junk cars did we get rid of last year? Do you have any idea?
Number for you, I don't know if I can give you a number. We probably more or less talk to people, try to get their junk cars removed from their property, more than anything else. But,
I don't think we actually towed a
towed
single
any.
vehicle.
Yeah, we try to refrain from towing vehicles as much as possible.
Council, I can get you a list of the letters that were written. Now, a lot of times, chief or an officer goes out and talks to property owners or residents, and they comply, and we don't need to send a letter. But I can get you a list of the letters that I sent out.
I would appreciate that. Because some of the vehicles that I talked about with you are still where they're still there. And that's why I asked.
I know Summit Street, that comes up, their 30 days is up here sometime in the next couple of weeks.
And what about the one out on between, Monroe and, Franklin? They're off High Street on the alley.
Is it a van or a red
It's a
truck?
van and a pickup truck.
We'll have to look back into that. We had sent them letters before and they had moved them. But
No,
we-
this is a different one. There was one on, Monroe and High that, didn't have a license plate on it. These two sat inside an alley next to a garage.
Is that the
And
one
the
you
tree
told me
limbs and
about?
stuff are hanging down over the top of it.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
white
that one.
Trailblazer.
Yes, in the garage.
It's in the garage. I don't know with our ordinance if there's anything we can do because it's in a
It's
structure.
not, no, I'm not talking about one in the garage,
Okay.
gentlemen. What I'm talking about is across the street. In the alley across the street that comes out on Franklin, it's a Half Moon Drive. And there's a van sitting here and a truck sitting here, and the tree limbs are hanging down over the van. They're backed into the alley up next to the fence. That's the two I'm talking about.
We'll go take a
I
look for
reported that to you, and you said you'd look into it, but I just wondered if you had sent them a letter or what.
I'm not-
We can talk some more about it so I can figure out where exactly they are.
Okay, okay.
Depends on whether they're licensed, doesn't it, somewhat, or does that not apply to them?
No, that does apply. It depends on whether they're on public or private property. It depends on if they're licensed or if they're inoperable. It depends on how long they've been sitting there. There's a lot of things that it depends on. Any other questions, comments, concerns about proposed 2018 schedule? All right. The next thing I wanted to get into, I know we're approaching an hour, which we haven't seen in a while. The council rules of procedure. What I'd like is something in writing to give me guidance on how the procedure should be followed when we have council meetings. Something that we talked about, President Pro Tem Pearson, you talked about earlier, wanting verbal reports from the department heads. What information you'd like from the mayor's office, from the department heads. What rules of procedure we follow. Are we Mason's Manual on legislative procedure? Are we Robert's Rules of Order? There's a lot of different things that we don't know. And it could be simplified if we had just a resolution with rules of procedure. I included the Indiana Senate Rules of Procedure. It's okay. It's great for them, I'm sure. It wouldn't be a fantastic fit for us. But it's something to provide me guidance when we're conducting council meetings and when we're preparing documents for council meetings. It's something that I'd like to have. And I wanted to open it up for discussion. If it's something that the council would like to proceed with, it's something that I can work on to get drafts to the council and we can keep talking about. If it's not something we'd like to proceed with, then I will not waste my time and work on it.
I think the Robert's Rules of Order have been used and effectively used.
Any other comments from the council?
Well, I would like to see just what we had tonight. Dick come up, all the guys come up and told us what they were doing and give us a presentation of what, where they were at and on their, and about the work that they've been doing. That's what I'd like to see.
Some verbal department head reports.
It probably will take a maximum of 20 minutes, so, I don't see that it's going to run us over time.
Is this something we'd like to make a motion to do?
Well, are we still gonna get, is it gonna be like, are you suggesting it be like tonight where we get the written reports and then just a little 2 or 3 minute blurb if that, is that, cause it's not, I'm not in favor of replacing the reports.
No, I'm not either.
Okay.
But what did you have in mind?
Well, it's just
You
like,
brought it
we
up.
get a report, but them coming up and telling us what their, what their projects are and where they're at on them and that kind of stuff.
We'll just have a resolution prepared for next meeting that highlights some of the reporting. written reports and short verbal reports. Anything else? Council rules of procedure?
Why does it have to be under a resolution just for, because I don't understand, we used to do it, and then you took office and we quit doing it, and now we gotta do a resolution to do it again?
I mean, we can, next month we'll do it that way, but I'd like to have a resolution, I'd like to have something in writing to give somebody an idea of what they're doing. And that's why I wanted the council rules of procedure, so that, you know, when the next administration comes in, they know the structure of the meeting, they know how we operate things, and we can do so in an efficient manner. When to deliver packets, when the council would like these different things, whether we're doing it electronically or written form, verbally.
Maybe it would behoove you to get us a copy of the Robert's Rules of Orders. I don't think everybody knows what that is.
I don't think anybody knows exactly everything, you know, it's pretty lengthy.
All right.
Well, if we're gonna get into all this and everything that you said, I don't know as if we can get that done tonight. Maybe that's something we need to take notes on and revisit next month. Cause you're talking 3 or 4 different areas there. There's probably some we're gonna miss, and if you're gonna put it into a resolution, we might as well get it right when we do it.
Does the rest of the council feel?
I agree. Put it on again, move it forward.
And we can provide written and verbal reports next month. Any further discussion on council rules of procedure? Alright. Hearing none, next item of business, we have city council comments and requests, starting with President Pro Tem Pearson.
On some development properties that had some movement been made, do you have any, I know you sent out some letters, any update on that?
So on large agricultural properties, I reached out to a developer again today. He's trying to set up, I guess, he's gonna contact the landowner again and should let me know here this month. On a different agricultural, large agricultural property, I met with another developer. I don't wanna get into too much detail, but it doesn't look like very promising on that property. But there is still movement. It's not stagnant, but it's not necessarily moving.
I know that, you know, like some earnest money had been, I mean, we were that far, I know Dale worked on it a good bit, and then suddenly it all just died and they shredded the earnest money check, and, you know, it's like, what happened here?
Cost of land. Most people can't come to an agreement of selling and buying, that's the biggest problem, yeah.
It's something I could talk to you outside of the meeting, but don't wanna relay land development contracts to